Welcome to the Dacus Report, hosted by Pacific Justice Institute founder and president Brad Dacus. For 25 years, PJI has counseled, represented, and defended people whose religious freedoms, parental rights, or sanctity of life have been obstructed or violated, all free of charge. We leave no one behind and level the playing field for Americans as they are subjected to the tyranny of the powerful. Now, here's Brad Dacus.
Welcome to the Dacus Report. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Brad Dacus, president of the Pacific Justice Institute. On today's show, we're going to be talking to one of our often featured guests, Kyle Campbell, and she is someone who is the host of a podcast called Politically Basic. She's also a commentator, and she always brings a lot to this show. So welcome to the program, Kyle. So glad to have you.
Hi, Brad. Happy New Year, and thanks so much for having me on the show today. I always love it.
Yeah, it is. It is the Happy New Year. Sometimes you approach a new year and you're somewhat kind of like skeptical, hesitant, concerned, fearful, perhaps, the uncertainties and all. But I think we're starting this year off pretty darn good in
so
many
far,
ways.
So good.
Yeah, we got the big, beautiful bill domestically. We're seeing a lot of great reforms. In just 1 year, and some of those are kicking in now as of January 1st. We see some great usage of American firepower and influence internationally, whether we're talking about Venezuela and arresting a drug lord, a thug who has the bloods of many Americans on his hands, or what happened in Gaza and the Middle East and the Hezbollah and Iran and talk of Cuba possibly folding and collapsing and becoming a free country, a friend of the United States possibly, and then other people looking to Greenland. And I mean, I'm just saying it's an exciting day of a lot of possibilities that would be very good for our nation's best interests, for the free world's best interests, and for many families out there who are going to benefit as well. Right off the bat, I heard that about $10 billion is being halted by the HHS, Department of Health and Human Services, in social service funding for 5 states: California, Minnesota, Colorado, New York, and Illinois. I think I got those right.
That's right. Yes. Good news.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not a fan of social services because they're always more likely than not, if they take a child from a family, they're making a mistake. They should not be taking the child. They're doing more harm than good. Clearly. I love to debate anyone on that topic. They're doing more harm than good. Even a study in the Obama administration by HHS showed that most of the children that are taken should not be taken. They're actually better off with a moderately abusive home than being put into foster care, statistically. So whenever I hear of social services not getting their money or money being cut off, I am so happy. But what's the reason that these 5 states in particular are having this kind of funding halted, at least for now?
Well, Brad, they're all Democrat-run states. And particularly ones like California and Minnesota, we've seen in the news so much lately because massive amounts of fraud have been exposed there. And what we're finding is that to the tune of billions with a B of dollars of hardworking taxpayer dollars are not going to welfare benefits, are not going to feed people who need food assistance. They're not going to Medicare, Medicaid. They are going into the pockets of people who are defrauding those federal government dollars and those taxpayer dollars. And it's just been so egregious that finally the administration said, okay, we maybe should call Elon back up and get this doged again, but we're going to have to start these investigations. Of course, we've seen it today and yesterday in Minnesota. So much so that, Tim Walz has come out and said, I'm not going to run for re-election, as he shouldn't, because it's been so bad what's been happening under his nose. But an investigation into California has just been announced. And I would imagine that those other states that are seeing fraud be exposed are going to be right behind them with these federal investigations, as they should be. It has been worse than we have probably seen fraud schemes maybe in our lifetime. And no one wants to be paying into these programs when they're, at the end of the day, not actually going to help the people that they're designed to help. There was some data that just came out, I'm not sure if anyone saw, that was showing the nationality of people inside the United States on all of these benefits, on SNAP, on Medicare, Medicaid. These are not American citizens. And if they are, unfortunately, this is one of those things where the collective is now harming the smaller population of people who maybe do really truly rely on those benefits. So sadly, this is going to be difficult for some people, but we've got to get in there and root the fraud out, root out the waste, so we can clean up and clean out these programs. So at the end of the day, they really do help the people who need it.
So we're talking about a large portion of this funding for welfare, food stamps, all these government handouts. They're going to people who they often don't even speak English. They came to the country illegally. They've poured across our border thanks to the premeditative, calculated plan and agenda of the Biden administration to destroy America for the benefit of furthering the long-term political power of the Democrat Party. I mean, I'm just saying this is fact. This isn't conjecture. This is...
No, that's exactly what's happened. Absolutely. And they were promised those benefits to come over. Of course, people from other countries want to come to America. America's the greatest country, the freest, most prosperous, safest, best nation on God's green earth. Of course, they want to come here. But what happened over the last 4 years of the previous administration was that they were lured to come in and really set up on government assistance to be here. And that included housing, EBT cards, debit cards, cell phones, a lot of other really tremendous benefits that some people struggle to pay for on a daily basis here. And so the scam is being uncovered. And it's really interesting, too, that when we start to dig into what some of these benefits cover, I mean, for anyone, benefits that are being received by citizens or being received by people who do not have their citizenship here in the United States, some of these SNAP benefits, Brad, cover things like lobster and caviar. I kid you not. And so it's a good time to dig in again and really figure out what's been going on and how these dollars have been used. Because a lot of people today are saying, why am I going to be paying my taxes this coming April for this past year when my tax dollars are being spent in this way? So we got another effort afoot of people who might not feel so much like paying their taxes this year.
Yeah, I can see people being pretty discouraged about that, and it can be pretty taxing, if you will. But also we're looking at opportunities that are being provided by the federal government through the voucher program, and it's sort of a no-brainer. But it's up to every governor of the states to decide whether or not the people, the moms and dads in their state, can benefit from these vouchers, federal vouchers that will allow them to put their child in a private school, a private Christian school if they want, instead of the public schools. Well, even states like Colorado, North Carolina, where you have Democrat governors, they both said this is a no-brainer. I mean, of course we're going to give this opportunity because this is money going to pay for students who will not be in the public school system anymore, and that will be that much more money left to serve fewer students. So, per head, we're going to have more money for our public schools. And the teachers union, though, apparently, they are so dogmatic about school choice, parents' choice, parents being able to have their children in a Christian school. They hate Christianity. They hate anything that espouses and allows parents to raise their children with a Christian biblical worldview, whether it's homeschooling or private Christian schooling. So they're the ones who are trying to push people like Governor Gavin Newsom, the governor of New York, and others not to accept, not to participate in this voucher program. I know some people have concerns long-term about what may happen with the voucher program. Are they going to put conditions on it, et cetera? That aside, as far as the short-term, immediate term, what do you think? Do you think Governor Gavin Newsom is going to say to the parents of California, nope, I am so die-hard in favor of the teachers union and their radical agenda to indoctrinate and brainwash as many kids as possible, that I'm going to not accept this federal money that can go to give parents school choice? What do you think is going to happen based on what you know about Governor Gavin Newsom?
Right. What he has shown us over his 6 years of absolute disaster. I guess we might be, in the 6th or 7th year of having to deal with him. What he has shown us is that he's very happy to take federal dollars. In fact, he will conjure a statewide emergency for emergency funds. He will put forward large-scale projects like the high-speed train or solving a humanitarian crisis like homelessness, and welcome those federal dollars to the tune of tens and tens of billions of dollars. The problems start to happen, Brad, when those dollars get diverted. And so I could see Governor Newsom accepting the money and then putting school voucher programs or plans into some never-ending kind of cycle with some committee that's getting paid, 6 figures to talk about it, never actually implementing it, and then again, skirting questions about where the money has gone. That does seem to be his pattern. Really, ideologically, he wants to keep public schools as the indoctrination factories that they are. We're just speaking very honestly today about what's been going on.
Right.
They have no interest in those children having any kind of option outside of what they want to be teaching them, which is really harmful and really dangerous. And they are not interested in seeing that change anytime soon. Plus, the money is absolutely flowing.
Right.
So we, the citizens, are going to have to keep him accountable, going to have to keep the unions, teachers, and schools and our entire public education system accountable here if they do decide to take any money for any kind of school voucher, school choice program.
Well, I think overall, I think it's a great vehicle to bring in competition, to force public schools to finally have to listen to parents, or they lose their business. They lose funding for their school district.
Did you know that PJI preserves students' rights to share their faith and protects them from indoctrination? We also provide free resources to help promote evangelism within the public schools and educational resources to give parents legal advice for choosing an alternative to public education. Keep current on the educational landscape by signing up for our Legal Insider email newsletter at pji.org. Now, back to the Dacus Report.
What's the State Office of School Rights? It sounds
This
like
one's
government.
interesting, Brad. Yeah, I think we need to keep an eye on this one. They want to put this office in place to essentially monitor things like racism and discrimination, but they're also including watching out for things like religious discrimination and anti-Semitism. So I'm not sure exactly how they're going to approach this one. I really think people need to pay attention if you have kids, particularly in California, the public school system. What's that going to look like? What are they looking out for? And what are the consequences of said detected racism and discrimination? So I think, just another office that maybe is needed, maybe isn't, that's going to be well funded. And we need to keep an eye on this one.
Yeah. I don't think that the state of California would create this if it was really to be neutral and help make sure protect all kids. When they adopt this, I don't think they were thinking of the white male in a classroom being belittled by their teacher because they're a white male and they're privileged and they should feel like 2 cents and feel bad about themselves because they're a, quote, privileged white male. They're not going to deal with those issues. They're going to let these kids be badgered, harassed, put down, belittled. Same thing with the kids of faith who are Christian. They're not creating this to protect kids who are of faith. And they say anti-Semitic. They're not going to be protecting Jewish kids.
I don't know about that. Yeah.
Because these politicians that are creating this, the left who are going to dominate this, are very anti-Semitic, anti-Christian, very racist, very woke, very far left. This is going to be an agency, I predict, that we at Pacific Justice Institute will likely go head-to-head with in court multiple times. And we're not going to put up with the garbage that they're going to try to put in our schools all the more harassing and vilifying kids because of their faith or how they were born. So we're watching this one very, very closely moving forward. Kamala's truancy jail time for parents has been removed. So what happened? What did Kamala Harris implement, and what was removed?
So she decided to say that if your child is absent a certain number of days of school for whatever reason, that could have been truly truancy, it could have been illness, that parents were subject to jail time over that. It was widely criticized when she implemented it, did not go over well. Shocker, right? And now that has been walked back. So this is good to see. And I haven't read through the entire law. I hope there's nothing, wacky thrown in there just because. But there sometimes are truly good reasons why a child's not in school. But also, again, it was putting the ownership of a child's presence back onto the parent. And now parents do have responsibility for their children being in school. But there are, again, circumstances, particularly in public school systems, where there is a need to remove a child, or there's something more systemic going on with the teaching staff, the administration, that school itself that was causing those absences. And it didn't need to all be on the parents and threatening parents with jail time over that. So I'm glad to see this one go.
Yeah, I know we at Pacific Justice Institute, we've gone head to head against this. We had a case where a mother, who, by the way, was an MD, a doctor, right? So her child needs special ed. This is down in San Diego County a number of years ago. And the school district said, your child needs to be just put on drugs, Ritalin and drugs. The mother said, the doctor says, no, that is not what my child needs. This is what my child needs, special ed to help with this certain learning disability. And the mother was probably frustrated and says, okay, fine, I'm homeschooling. I'm pulling my kid from the school. I'm going to homeschool, puts together a program to homeschool. The school district had the audacity, because every child that's not there, they lose money. Public schools don't care about the education of children, generally speaking. It's all about getting that money. Every day that child's not in school, that school district does not get that money for that day. That is what drives them. It's money, it's greed, it's power. It's not the welfare of children. And I could do a documentary on that one. But anyway, so this is what happens. They go after the mother for truancy. Instead of apologizing, they go after her to truancy, to force the child back into public school, where they're going to force these drugs on this child with special needs. We at Pacific Justice Institute were contacted about this. We stepped in. We filed a lawsuit on behalf of the mother, the doctor who's a mother, and we sued the school district. And the school district, actually, their argument was, this is truancy, and Your Honor, we want to force this mother back into the schools. At the end of the trial, the judge says, first, not only does this mother have a right to homeschool if she wants, because they said she wasn't a credentialed teacher, even though she was a doctor, medical doctor, A&B. I mean...
Yeah, what does she know?
Yeah, I mean, they said, no, she's not qualified. She didn't get her bachelor's degree in education, so therefore she's not qualified, one of the easiest degrees, but I won't say more than that. Anyway, but so she does that. And so they say, the judge says, not only does this doctor, this mother, have a right to homeschool, but you, the school district, you're the ones at fault. You have an obligation under California law to provide what is adequate and necessary for that child's special education needs. And we can see you're just trying to make a quick, easy solution by putting the kids on drugs. That is clearly not what was in the best interest of the child and their education needs. I hereby order you, the school district, to pay to this whatever school the parent wants the child to go to.
Wow. That
will give them the special education needs that is necessary. It was a fantastic case. Yeah. Hit the public school district right between the eyes where they deserved. And then we've had other cases also dealing with the rights of parents. There was one in Northern California, and she was the kids were taken with unlawful warrant. It wasn't signed by a judge. They busted down the door of her house. They took the kids. The mother had a whole room made into a classroom there in her home. It was so obvious that she homeschooled, had a great program. They took the kids unlawfully, with an unlawful entrance into the house, and traumatized the kids. And they brought truancy charges against the mother, criminal charges. We at Pacific Justice, I personally took on this case. I represented that mother, and I went before the judge. And I said, Your Honor, our client's rights are being violated. Her fundamental rights over the education I bring her children are being violated pursuant to established federal case law, Pierce v. Society Sisters, Myers v. Nebraska, Wisconsin v. Yoder. Your Honor, and this is what I told him. I says, we are willing to take this case all the way to the Supreme Court if necessary to stop this outrageous violation of our client's rights under the Constitution. The judge, he ordered the prosecution to re-examine the case and had it dismissed within 30 days.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so this is the kind of outrageous things that are going on. The teachers union, by the way, Kyle, they love this stuff. Anything that they can use to intimidate parents, truancy, whatever it is, they love that because they want to force as many kids into public schools for indoctrination as well as maximizing the dollar per head. And that's what kids are worth, I think, to the teachers is money and power. So that's my 2 cents.
Well, we need more protections there for children, for families. And again, homeschool is looking better and better every year in the state of California. Tell you what, but this was a good one. Glad to see it go.
What about this holiday, this Diwali?
Oh, Diwali's a holiday now.
What is Diwali?
Diwali. I don't know, an Indian holiday. It's just plucked from obscurity, Brad, that in the interest of being more diverse, not Kwanzaa, not Hanukkah, we are going to celebrate Diwali in the state of California. I believe it's November 8th. Everyone mark your calendars. You're getting the day off.
Is that where they take colored powder and they put colored paint or colored powder on you and everyone's all covered with color? I mean, that's a culture thing. They enjoy
beautiful.
it. They want
if
that.
If you celebrate it, it's fabulous. The only reason I know about it is from The Office. They made a song about, or either that or Adam Sandler did a song celebrating Diwali.
It was The Office. I remember that episode.
And it's lovely, and I wish people so many blessings on that day if you celebrate it. Lord knows why it is now a California state-recognized official holiday.
Most Americans, like myself included, I didn't even know what it was. Maybe people say, well, this way you'll learn what it is. Well, then,
sure.
Every holiday of every religion around the world, we need to recognize it. I mean, it'd be an economic burden on our country if we were, quote, diversified to every single person who would say, well, what country are you from? What's your religion? What was your culture? Oh, what holiday did you have? The Bufu holiday? Okay, we all recognize Bufu and let's do a Bufu holiday. No. Holiday is for recognition for things that we as a culture have embraced, and that is something we can share as a culture and benefit from, practically speaking, at the same time with the same holiday. That's my 2 cents on that. I think that's
Brad, there are larger purposes afoot here when we are trying to expand, religious holidays of different cultures, religious expressions that we are trying to integrate into Western and American culture specifically. There's a pretty coordinated effort here. Zohran Mamdani was just inaugurated as a socialist Democrat mayor of New York City, and he put his hand on the Quran while he took that oath of office. So we need to be mindful. I know it's kind of, we make light of these things, but when they start to snowball, we've got to be careful that we are losing our truly Western American Christian culture here in the United States. So one little holiday at a time.
It's interesting. You mentioned, and by the way, if Title VII, if there's an employee who has a religious holiday from their culture, their religious background, they want accommodation so they can have that day off. They can be accommodated. Federal law will protect them. There's nothing wrong with that at all. They may have to make up that day on another day of working, perhaps on a Christmas or a different holiday, perhaps. But that's fine. That's protected. Moving forward, but as we look at our nation and in terms of our freedoms and our liberties, we need to understand that we shouldn't be foolhardy. We need to be reasonable, responsible, moving forward. And I'm just of the opinion that our country is one. It's a great nation. It's a great country. It's great to have laws protecting our freedoms and liberties. And let's hope we get people elected to a legislature that will learn to respect our freedoms and our liberties moving forward better. The state of California has a long way to go. Some crazy stuff. Interesting, Mamdani, when he put his hand on the Quran, he put his hand on the book that says when the Jews and the Christians are killed, then we'll have peace. Just a thought. Just a thought. Okay. Thank you so much, Kyle, for being on the show. I appreciate it, and I look forward to having you back next time.
Brad. Thank you so much. Again, Happy New Year to you and everyone watching, and look forward to being back with you again soon.
You got it. Take care.
We would love the opportunity to continue to serve you. Just visit pji.org and click the Legal Insider button to sign up for our email newsletter. At PJI, we help individual employees, employers, business owners, pastors, students, citizens of every stripe through our practical resources, counsel, representation, and defense, all free of charge at pji.org. PJI is an island of stability and assurance in our ever-churning sea of legal and societal chaos. We are here for you.
So, folks, just remember, it's our God-given freedoms we're talking about. Now, let's choose to keep them. I'm Brad Dacus, president of the Pacific Justice Institute. Let's continue the fight for your freedoms.